I can do that. So this is the fire hydrant at the end of Wesleyan for the cul-de-sac that's being moved 10 feet onto your property. Is that what this was, the 4,000 was for?
There's no cul-de-sac at the end of Wesleyan.
But that's what you're putting in there, correct?
Yeah, the
Yes,
cul-de-sac
that's
is
why
going at
this
the
has
end.
to be moved for the
Yeah,
purpose of putting in the cul-de-sac, correct?
yeah.
Am I remembering
Yes.
To
correctly?
put in a cul-de-sac.
Right, right, okay. So this is what my question is. Every property has the 10-foot utility, which is where that is currently located. Is that accurate? Well, most properties have utility easements.
Yeah, it's in the,
And-
yeah.
Right, okay, so when I was asking questions about this, when I talked to some people, BFNS said that they actually recommended that the cul-de-sac be moved 5 feet further to the west instead of that farther down, so that there wouldn't be a need to move a fire hydrant onto a personal residence, and it wouldn't affect the changing of hands. It was the same property owners that owned the property either way, if it was moved 5 foot to the west, so that that fire hydrant wouldn't have to be moved.
Okay.
So, but can I just ask my question? No,
Yeah.
west is that way. West is towards that
I
way.
mean, I was imagining it coming further down Wesleyan
Okay.
instead of at the end. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So my question is, if that was BFNS's recommendation, why would the town not choose to use their recommendation, since this is what they do, and we rely on them for so many things, including donations for special events and things? Why would we not want to take their advice? Because I understand you're going to answer, Ron. But my question is, if that's the case, I've spoke to many people in Lafayette and many contractors and many companies about this, and they've never heard that it's a standard that you put it on someone's property, because they said by putting it on a personal residence's property, that means that personal resident is going to get tax breaks and going to get discounts on their insurance. So why should the town pay to move it when they could have went with BFNS's actual recommendation? Then it wouldn't have affected anything as far as your personal property.
Okay, good questions. First of all, the cul-de-sac and the hydrant we will donate the land like we did on Shady Lane for the cul-de-sac on Shady Lane. That's going 100% on our property. But so we donated the land to the town for that cul-de-sac. We'll do the same thing on Wesleyan Drive for the hydrant and cul-de-sac. The second thing is, that's a weird property down there, and if you move it, the church has agreed. The normal thing is, yes, you move it back to the west, but by moving it to the west, you're moving a 70-foot round cul-de-sac to the west, and it's not 5 foot, I think it's 10 foot or so, and already the church's front yard is 35% taken out by the cul-de-sac, 35% of that yard. You move it 5, 10 more foot back, you're talking then up to 50% of that yard, okay? Mm-hmm. Let alone on Cindy and I's property, we're not doing what should be done in the first place. We should be putting the cul-de-sac on the dead square end of Wesleyan Drive, and all 4 owners, Stevenson's, Gail and Steve, Ron and Cindy, and the church should all be donating 1/4 of that. But Steve and Gail, and Ashley and Lisa don't want to do that. They'll go to court before they do that. And I will never do like the last board did and steal somebody's land. So therefore, we will donate it, and the church will donate 100% of that land at no charge, and we're going to put it at the end of Wesleyan Drive. And that means moving a fire hydrant a few foot at a cost of $4,800. Mm-hmm. I will, though, when I mentioned that to BFNS and Ashley was out there, and I think Stan was there and everybody, they immediately said, we understand. Why would any neighbor, I asked my neighbors, why would any neighbor want to move and take out and wipe out somebody else's front yard or probably the best building spot in Dayton, Indiana, and screw that up? Why would they want to do it? So we got to be fair, Trish, to everybody. We're giving in everything on both Shady Lane and Wesleyan Drive, you know. So, and $4,500, I think it's cheap, by the way. I mean, along your house over there, I think, or Ashley's, we moved a telephone pole 3.5 foot, 3 3/4 foot, and it cost $7,000, $6,800. I question that. I talked to BF&S. They question that. But at that time, it's what the board wanted, and at that time, the board owned every house with you. You guys owned every house except one on Harrison. So, you know, in Harrison, we spent $150,000 and put 19 streets in front of it to get that street done. So I think we're being fair, and we're trying not to, the church is a little upset that everybody isn't sharing in it evenly. I'm a little upset that everybody's not sharing in it evenly. So I would think everybody be really happy that we're giving up our property in the frontage right along there, and the church is, to make this thing happen.
I wasn't trying to say any, I was just wanting clarification. I'm not trying to jab at you, Ron. I'm just trying to get clarification.
I take it personally, it sounded like it,
Okay,
Trish.
I apologize. It was not meant as a personal attack. I just wanted clarification with the information that I had received.
Well, I can't see, it fathoms me that anybody in this world, anywhere, my neighbors, you, anybody, would say, take more of that other person's land and not one goddamn square foot of their land. And they would go to court over it. That's what really irritates me in this whole process.
And I'm sorry,
Well, sure
that
they
didn't
are.
have anything to do
Well,
with my
you're
question.
super passionate about this, and it boils down to Ron and Cindy and the church are giving up land to properly end this road, and you're upset that the Stevensons aren't getting 10 more feet of
It has nothing
driveway
to do with the Stevens.
because it
Sure
needs to
it
go
is.
to the
No.
end of the road. It needs to end at the end of the road because they won't allow it on the property, so it needs to end at the end of the road. So the people that are giving up their land for this properly terminated road, like, and you were attacking him when you said, you put it on a personal
Yes, you
property.
were.
No, let me talk. You get a tax break because you have a fire hydrant. You get a insurance break because you have a fire hydrant. Were you honest with the people you called? Did you say, they're moving the fire hydrant 10 feet. How will this benefit them?
That's not
Or
what I
did
said.
you say, do you get benefits for having a fire hydrant? Because they already have a fire hydrant. It's getting moved 10 feet. The fact that you reached out to many, many, many contractors and BF&S and many, many other individuals, why are you so passionate about it except to attack Ron and try to make it sound as though Ron's doing anything except giving to the town like he always does?
That
I'm
was
sorry,
not
not
it
at
at all.
what you worked
My question was, all my question was why not take BF&S's advice? That was my only question. It wasn't meant to take jabs at anyone. It wasn't meant to do digs. And you can say that all you want. It was not my intention, and
Okay.
you can't put words in my mouth.
You had one question, I agree with that. And we'll listen to this tape, I'll listen to it tonight. But it was to halfway accuse and take jabs and make such a ridiculous request that I can't even believe it. And Trish, when you're talking about this, remember, we donated half of Shady Lane. We donated the cul-de-sac on Shady Lane. We donated my salary up here for $250,000. We've donated everything in our life for 48 years we could possibly do for this town. So it just galls me that my neighbors, and you are even bringing it up, about a cul-de-sac that isn't on your property whatsoever. And if, I'll tell you what, if there was any tax break, I'd give it all to Combat Cookies. You know, for God's sakes.
All right, wonderful.
What a nasty thing to
Wonderful.
say.
Wonderful.
Okay, let's move.